perform this lab 3.1, create an image. Okay, we'll create a local image and push it to DockerHub. DockerHub will be our container registry. So what we'll do is, first let's create an account in hub.docker.com. I would suggest you also do along with me. Okay, it won't take much time. So go to hub.docker.com. Okay, and click on sign up. Okay, I already have an account, but still I'll show it. You can continue with the Google or GitHub, or you can create an account. Okay, and they may send an email for verification. Okay, so I already have an account, so I'll just do sign up. And don't forget the username and password, we may require it. Okay, so that's my username. Okay, and this is the screen which we'll get when we log into Docker Hub. Okay, so I have some repositories. Okay, so like GitHub. Okay, we haven't covered GitHub. So GitHub has everything related to code. Docker Hub has everything related to images. Okay, so we can create our Docker repository, and in that repository we'll be storing our images. Okay, so I already have some of the apps. Okay, or repositories. I'll delete those, I don't need it. Okay, let me first delete it, then we'll start with the exercise. You can also see how to delete it. You can go to the settings and delete the repositories. Go to the repositories settings, and last option is delete repository. So it may take some time at the backend to delete it, but this is the page which we get when we log in for the first time. We have the profile here. Okay, then we can search someone else uploaded public repos here. Okay, and when we go to repositories, we can create our own repository as well. So we'll create our first repository after login. Okay, so the login is done, and just click on create repository. Remember your username and password. Okay, they will require it. Then click on create repository, and we can create only one private repository and multiple public repositories. So in this case, we are creating a public repository. We'll create private repository later. So we need to give our repository name web-app. Okay, so this is the name for this app repository. Okay, and just click on create. Okay, so if you see the repository is created, in repositories we can see web app is created. When we click on this web app, we can see that one of the command is given here, docker push, and your repository name, first the username and the repository name and the tag name. Okay, so we'll be seeing this in some time. Then it has some tags. Tags means you can say various version of that particular particular image. Okay, in this repository we'll be pushing our Docker image. Okay, and that Docker image will have multiple versions. Okay, that is called as tags. Okay, similarly we have build, collaborators, webhooks and all. Okay, but the important is tags. Okay, and the repository. So our repository is created. It has this name. Okay, as of now we haven't tagged it. Okay, so you can say our name is username. Your username will be you can see your username here. Okay, you'll need it. This is your username. Okay, first part is username, the second part is the repository name, and the last one will be the tag name or the version. So we have created the repository. Now let's create a Docker file. Okay, yesterday also we created the same, so we are doing the same thing today. So let me remove it if I have already have this website directory. I'll create a website directory. Go to the website directory. And inside that we'll create a Docker file. So remember, the path is important. Inside the website directory itself we are creating a Docker file. It will download a base image, Nginx Alpine. Okay, it will copy the contents of app directory inside it. Okay, inside usr share nginx html, and whatever we copy under usr share nginx html is displayed on the screen. Okay, and let's create this. We'll now create a app directory. We are already in a website directory. Okay, and let's go inside app and create index.html. So we added one line inside it. Now don't run anything in the app directory. You should go one directory back using cd dot dot, and you should have this directory structure. Okay, we are inside website directory. In website directory we have Docker file. Okay, and inside website directory we also have one more directory called app. Okay, and inside that we have index.html. So we should now be in a website directory where the Docker file is, and remember D should be in the uppercase, and we'll create our image now. So Docker build command is used to create an image. -t means we are tagging it. Okay, and this is our repository name. Okay, username / repository name, and v1 is a tag, or you can say a version. So first version of the image we are creating. So we should not use web app v1. It will create an image, but while pushing we need this format only, because at the remote location the name of the repository contains the username as well. Okay, so don't forget it, otherwise you won't be able to push the image. So just press enter. Okay. And just now I mentioned few layers. So each layer Okay, each command is having a layer and it has a number as well. Okay, so our Docker image is created. So let's do Docker images. So it downloaded a base image. On top of it, it created this version 1. Okay, so the image is there. We can test this image if you want. Docker ps. We should always test it. So we'll run it sudo docker run. Okay. We'll run it in a detached mode. Run it on port 8080, port number 80. Inside the container it is port number 80 and it is mapped to port 8080 of this host. Host means DevOps VM, and give the image name colon v1. We are not giving any name to the container. We need to just test it. Okay, so web app 1 is running now. So just to do sudo docker ps and just to curl localhost 8080. Okay, so if you see, it will show on all the interfaces like loopback address and ethernet interfaces. It is running on port 8080 on this host and it is mapped to port 80 inside the container. Okay, and you also see this one. This is for IPv6. Okay, this is for IPv4, and it gave a name, a random name, as we did not use hyphen name. So this is my website. It is showing properly. That means our image is created properly, and from that image we are able to create the containers. Now this is the customized image. Okay, so the problem of it is running on my laptop or on my container, and why it is not running on your laptop or on container, that problem will be solved. Okay, because this has all the necessary libraries or binaries. Not in this case there are not, but all the dependencies are there along with the source code. So what is our source code here? The app directory has a source code and it has dependency that it should have nginx running. Okay, so this container has everything. Now this container we will store at some centralized location, and from that centralized location anyone can use it as it is. There is no alteration. Okay, so let's push this image. So the syntax is not difficult. The same image, the image which we created using docker build. Okay, the same thing we are just pushing. Sudo docker push. Okay, so we are just pushing it, and by default it will try to push it to DockerHub. Okay, if we do not give the name of the registry, or we need to first log in to any container registry and then we should push it. Okay, but what happens if we do not log in? We'll see that. So if you see, it is saying access is denied. Okay, even though it is a public repository available to all, it is available only for downloading. That is, it has only a read-only access to everyone by default. Okay, and to write anything into it, like to push any image into it, we'll have to first logging into it. Only the authorized person can push the image inside that. So command would be docker login. So when I say docker login, it is by default logging to hub.docker.com. Okay, and here remember your username, okay, and the password. Okay, so I need to use sudo So we are not setting the password, okay? We are using the existing password of hub.docker.com. Okay, so you should get this login succeeded. Okay, when you get login succeeded, just push the image again. Okay, so the image is pushed. Okay, version 1 is pushed to remote container registry, the cloud-based Docker Hub. Just go here, click on repositories. Okay, click on our web app, and we can see a version 1 is here. Okay, so our image is here, and this is the push command which we used. It is giving us for an example. Okay, now we need to test it, okay, that we can easily pull it, okay, from Docker Hub and run it properly. So we already have the image, right? Docker images. So we already have this image, okay. So when we try to pull it, it will just overwrite it and we won't be able to see the demo. So what we'll do is we'll just delete everything. So let me see if I have my script. Yeah, so cleanup script I'll use to delete all the images and containers. I'll just do sudo docker ps. Okay, there are no containers running and non-running both, and if I check with the images, okay, there is nothing. Now the same command you use it here, just instead of push, just do pull. Okay, we can pull it or directly run it using docker run command. Okay, when we do the docker run command, it first checks if this image is available locally, otherwise it does the pull. Okay, so we never covered the pull command, okay, but today we are covering. So this is the pull command. It is downloading it from the remote location, okay, that is Docker Hub, and as it is a public, we do not need to log in. And now if you see Docker images, this image is not locally created one, it is pulled from Docker Hub. Okay, and we can also run and test it. Again, same thing, curl localhost 8080. Okay, now if any one of you uses this command, okay, on his or her laptop, okay, from terminal, you will be able to pull the image which I posted in the Docker Hub. Okay, you can also run this command as it is and you will get the output like this. Okay, so this was all about Docker Hub.